Okay, let's dive into something that might just be lurking a lot closer to your dinner plate than you think. We're talking about the fish tapeworm. It's a really remarkable and, yeah, let's be honest, a slightly terrifying parasite that can be an uninvited guest in some of our absolute favorite foods. So, let me ask you a question. Are you a fan of sushi? How about a fresh, zesty ceviche? Or maybe some of that beautiful, delicate raw salmon? Well, if you just nodded your head and said yes, then you are definitely going to want to stick around for this. You see, those delicious meals can sometimes come with a plus one you didn't ask for. We're about to meet the three main culprits behind an infection called Diphyllobothriasis. They're a family of fish tapeworms, and believe me, they are absolute pros at sneaking onto your plate. Now, here's where it gets really interesting, because modern science has totally shaken up this parasitic family tree. Thanks to amazing DNA tools, what we used to lump together as Diphyllobothrium latum has been reclassified. We now know there's Diphothriocephalus latus, which you'll find in freshwater. Then there's Diphothriocephalus nihonkayensis, the one that loves Pacific salmon. And finally, Adenocephalus pacificus in other marine fish. So different names, different hangouts, but they all pose a pretty similar risk to us. So, what exactly are these things? Well, scientists call them metazoan endoparasites. Metazoan just means they're complex, multicellular animals. We're not talking about a simple little germ here. And that endoparasite part, well, that means they live out their entire life mission from inside a host. Yep, inside. And these parasites, they are true world travelers. So let's follow their journey, right? We're going to see how they travel from their native waters in places like Scandinavia or the Pacific Ocean, all the way to countries like the Netherlands, where you just wouldn't find them in the wild anymore. Okay, so this parasite basically takes two main highways to get around the globe. The first one is international travel. So picture this. Someone goes on vacation where the tapeworm is common, they enjoy a delicious local raw fish dish, and then they unknowingly bring an infection home with them. The second route, and this is becoming way more common, is our global food trade. Fresh, chilled, but, and this is key, unfrozen fish, like Pacific salmon carrying Diphothriocephalus nihonkayensis, can be flown right across the world, larvae and all. And this is a really key point for a place like the Netherlands. Believe it or not, these tapeworms used to be present in local waters there. But thanks to incredible advances in modern sanitation and water treatment, local transmission has been practically wiped out. So today, when a case pops up, it's almost always an imported health issue. And let's say you do get infected. This isn't some short-term visitor. We're talking about a serious commitment here. An untreated tapeworm infection can live inside a person for up to, get this, a staggering 25 years, just quietly hanging out in your small intestine. So that begs the question, right? How does this parasite even get into the fish in the first place? Well, its journey is one of the most complex and, frankly, fascinating in the entire natural world. Let's trace its incredible life cycle. It all kicks off when eggs from an infected mammal, could be a bear, could be a human, end up in the water. These eggs hatch into tiny swimming larvae. Then they get eaten by a tiny crustacean. But it doesn't stop there. That crustacean gets eaten by a small fish. Still not done. A bigger predator fish comes along and eats that smaller fish, and the larvae migrate right into its muscle tissue. The part we call fillet. And this diagram, wow, it lays out that whole wild journey perfectly. It all starts with those eggs in the water. They hatch, get swallowed by crustaceans, which then get eaten by small fish, which are then eaten by those larger predators like salmon or pike. That's where the larvae set up shop in the muscle. And then, humans, bears, or even sea lions become the final host when they eat that infected fish raw or undercooked. And once it finds a cozy home inside a host, this thing, it grows. And it grows. An adult tapeworm can reach over 10 meters. That's more than 30 feet long. And its ability to reproduce is just mind-blowing. It can produce up to 1 million eggs every single day to start that whole cycle all over again. Okay, a 30-foot worm living inside of you sounds absolutely awful. But what does an infection actually feel like? What's the real impact on your health? Well, here's the really wild part. For about 80% of people who get infected, the answer is they feel nothing at all. The vast majority of these cases are completely asymptomatic. The person has no clue they're hosting this enormous parasite, which, as you can imagine, is a big reason these infections can go undiagnosed for so long. Now, for that other 20% who do feel it, the symptoms are often pretty vague. Things like stomach pain or diarrhea. Some people might feel tired or lose some weight. The most definitive, and let's just be honest, horrifying symptom is when the host actually passes segments of the worm. And there's one more thing. That freshwater species, Diphyllobothrium latus, is famous for sucking up huge amounts of vitamin B12 from its host, which can lead to a really serious deficiency. Okay, so let's say you suspect you might be hosting one of these uninvited guests. How do doctors even find it? And more importantly, how do they get rid of it? Let's get into the world of diagnosis and treatment. The traditional way, the old school method, is pretty simple. You look for eggs in a stool sample under a microscope. Now, that confirms you've got a tapeworm, but, and this is a big but, the eggs from all the different species look almost identical. So to know for sure which one you're dealing with, you need new school tech like PCR. It's basically a way to find and copy the parasite's unique DNA so you can identify it for sure. And this right here, this shows you exactly what we're talking about. These are eggs from two different species. Can you spot the difference? Yeah, neither kind of microscope really. But knowing the exact species is super important for tracking outbreaks and figuring out where the infection even came from. Was it that salmon sushi from the Pacific, or was it perch from an alpine lake? DNA gives us the answer. All right, now for the really good news. Despite its scary size and crazy life cycle, getting rid of this parasite is actually incredibly straightforward. A single dose of a medication called praziquantel is super effective, and it's the standard treatment used everywhere, including in the Netherlands. One and done. So the best offense is a good defense, right? The big question is, how do you keep this from happening in the first place? How can you keep enjoying fish but without the worry? The strategy is actually pretty simple. First, heat is your best friend. Cooking fish all the way through is a guaranteed way to stay safe. Second, if you're going to eat it raw, like in sushi or ceviche, that fish must be properly frozen first. Freezing also kills the parasite dead. And finally, just be aware. If you're traveling in a region that's known for this parasite, just be mindful of the risks that come with local raw fish dishes. We actually put all this information together using a Gemini deep search. And if you want to geek out and dive even deeper into the science, we've put a complete list of all our sources in the Notebook LM document that's linked right in the description. You know, it really makes you think. The story of the fish tapeworm isn't just about a parasite. It's a story about our interconnected world and our global food supply. It kind of leaves us with a much bigger question. As our plates become more and more global, what other hidden stories are we swallowing? If you found this as fascinating as we did, make sure to subscribe for more deep dives into complex topics just like this one. And hey, we'd love to hear what you think, so drop your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching.